Hey guys, I'm back at you here today with another interview, the second one in this series, and I'm very excited to introduce you guys to my first mentor, Matt Justice. He was the first person to ever show me what a stock chart was. He was the first person to ever get me. He really showed me what this world could offer and got me excited about the opportunity it presented. So I'm excited to bring his words of wisdom to you guys today, and I hope you enjoy the interview. All right, hey everybody. I'm very excited today to bring you one of my mentors, one of my all-time favorite people in the world, Matt Justice, for a quick
Thank you.
interview today. Matt, would you just like to say hi to everybody out there?
How's everybody out there in La La Land? It's Jake. It's good to be with you here today. It's amazing technology. We can get on here. We can. I think we're on Google Hangouts talking about trading with myself and Jake. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, and I thank you for your time. To first get started, I'd like for you to kind of introduce yourself to everybody who number one
hmm
doesn't know you, and also kind of talk about how you got into trading. What was that catalyst that made you come into that, and your journey through that?
Yeah, Matt Justice, everybody. Just by way of bio, I was very traditionally educated, born and raised in a central Utah community of Huntington, Utah. Thank God I did not become a coal miner like a lot of other justices through our heritage. But my father, from very young, he told me, go to school, go to school. You're getting out of Emory County. You're not going to become a coal miner. Go make something of yourself. And so that's what I did. I went to school, went to law school, graduated law school in '04. I think the one thing that law school taught me more than anything else is that I didn't want to become an attorney. It was $130,000 very valuable lesson there, Jake.
Yeah.
But that led me to '05 to sit in a class in '05 and have an opportunity to learn how to trade. And it wasn't an easy decision coming to 7 years on $130,000 of educational debt. To say I needed more education was not easy, but I needed the right education, and I invested in myself. And years later, that led me to become director of Rich Dad and the creator of multiple different trading systems. And it allowed me to retire at 32 years old, and allowed me to be a business owner, a CEO, and it allowed me to have a life that I didn't really know existed as I was growing up. And that led me to meet amazing people like yourself a year ago, to become a public speaker and teaching other people how to do the same. It's been an amazing journey.
Awesome. So I'd just like to hear some of the lessons that you learned through trading, but the
hmm
ones that you had to learn the hard way. Because we all go through
Well,
education, but some of those, it takes time or those experiences to get into us.
I think a couple lessons I've learned. Number one is don't get cocky. Once you start thinking you're better than the market's going to teach you a very valuable lesson, Jake. And I've had a couple very valuable, expensive lessons along the way. Whenever you think you're too good, it's just it's going to knock you down a peg or two. So stay positive, stay hardworking, blue collar mentality. And never think you're better than the market, because the market's bigger than you are. You're not going to outthink the market. You're not going to be better than the market. There's too much information out there, and it knows it all. It is the all-seeing Wizard of Oz to a certain extent. So number one, stay passionate, but don't stay cocky. Don't get cocky. Number two, I think the biggest mistake I made along the way, Jake, was I didn't embrace compounding gains, and I didn't embrace covered calls and cash flow. As a young trader, I didn't have a lot of money. I started trading when I was 27 years old, and I had a couple $1,000 in my account and started buying options. And when you buy options, sometimes it's great and sometimes it's really bad. Most of the time it's bad.
Yeah.
So a very valuable lesson that I was taught over my first 5 years of trading, because that's how long it took me. I'm a very stubborn individual, Jake. But I learned the valuable lesson of selling options, acting as the insurance agent, selling premiums, selling cash flow, high probability cash flow strategies. And one thing that I've realized over the 10, 11 years of me being a trader, investor, an educator, is even $100 a month compounding gains turns into wealth down the road. and you don't realize that until you're down the road. So we get so caught up in the I want to make $1 million in the next 3 days that we never make $1 million, and we get poor doing it. You got to think long term. You always got to think long term. Compound gains, even $50 to $100 a month compounded reallocated gains, allows you to create a lot of wealth down the road. So I would say, number one, don't get cocky, and number two, my God, compound gains, covered calls, compound gains.
Yeah. It's funny. I was out there with Tim a weekend ago, and I got a chance to talk with Steve, and he was saying how when you guys first started working together, Steve was all about covered calls, and you weren't so fond of them, and it took some time, and
Well, it took me a while. It did take me a while. There's no doubt about that. I mean, in 2009, I remember sitting in a boardroom in Salt Lake City, Utah, as director of Rich Dad Education, and the guy that was challenged to lead the mob squad of legacy mentors and bringing everybody together to create this trading system. And we all had our different styles and different techniques, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Everybody just has a different style. And bringing those people together to create one system was unique. It was different. It was different. It was difficult, but and 2 years later we did it. But I do remember one time in 2009, I told somebody, I said, you can take your covered calls and enjoy that 2%. I'm going to go hit 100%. And that's the difference between buying options versus selling options. And looking back 6-7 years later, I was a young, ignorant idiot to make that statement. I was 31 years old at the time, and I was a swing trader, day trader, trading currencies and trading options, and I just didn't realize the power of compounding gains, and I didn't realize the power of covered calls, and fortunately in life we have the ability to evolve and get better and learn from our mistakes. And I think the number one mistake I made as a young trader was not embracing cash flow from covered calls. And the simple reality is, if I would have learned how to compound off a $2,000 account 11 years ago, I would have more money today than as an active trader, because compounding gains has a snowball avalanche impact years from now. So compound gains, and don't repeat the failures and mistakes of a young, cocky Matt Justice.
I love it. I love it. So one of the things when a lot of traders get together, they love to talk about war stories, and they're usually of the negative kind.
We don't talk about gains. We talk about losses.
Of course. So I'd like to maybe, if you want to share like one of those experiences you had.
Awesome. Well, a couple ones, a couple of them I had. It was back in 2012. I was trading an Iron Condor on Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. And this was before I started just doing condors on market indexes. I would do it on stocks a lot, because on an index you can get 10%, 12% return on a monthly basis. On a stock you can get 25, 30% because of the volatility. So I do it on a lot of stocks, but the reality is stocks are more risky, because stocks can gap, they can do this, they move a lot faster than the market does. And again, being a little greedy, hitting a 25 to 30% return on 85% probability. I mean, that's sexy, right? I mean, that is the definition of sexy, right? Yeah. So there I am with the 25% potential return with 85% probability, selling very low deltas on ISRG. And ISRG about 3 weeks before earnings, which I was planning on closing the trade before earnings, ISRG pre-announced earnings. Oh. And very rare that a stock will actually do that, but they pre-announced earnings, and ISRG goes from $450 to $375 overnight, and I'm max loss. I mean, the options were so bad, Jake, that I couldn't even get out of the trade for 3 straight weeks. I had to stare at this, because to buy back the trade, I would have had to buy it back for actually more than the max loss. So I literally had to stare at that son of a gun for 3 straight weeks, just as a gentle reminder of, that the market will teach you a valuable lesson. But I only had 4% of my account allocated in the trade. I lost 4% at expiration, and the reality is, guys, you can make 4% with one trade. So live to fight another day in that capacity. But that's how important position size, risk management is in investing. Is we'd like more trades, not less trades. Probability works the more times you do it, not the less times you do it. So that was number one. Number two was even worse.
Okay.
Number two was August 7th of 2011. It's amazing how you remember the dates of some of these things. But August 7th, 2011, Greece announces that they're potentially going to default on their debt in Greece, and it causes this massive panic sell-off around the world. And the U.S. stock market in 4 days is down 18%. I mean, just getting absolutely slaughtered. And I was short the market on the breakdown of support, and I was long gold. So every time the market would hit resistance, I would short the market, buy gold. And every time it hit support, I would buy the market and short gold. And for 2 straight months, August and September, I was just killing it. I mean, I was Scrooge McDuck swimming in a field of gold coins. It was awesome. And then October happened, and I was very slow to react because the market hit resistance, broke out of resistance, and I was still short the market. I was still long gold, and gold was going down, and the market was going up. And I thought, this European debt crisis is massive. It's going to come back down. And it was just the way we kind of convince ourselves to stay in a trade when we know it's not. We use whatever form of analysis. We convince ourselves, the European debt crisis is, the Greece debt crisis is this, the government's full of a bunch of idiot consumers, and the market's going to tank. And eventually October ran its course, and for every gain I made in August and September, I gave back in October. And I remember the conversation. I was talking to my brother Tim, who you met last week, and he's been my trading partner since the inception of this. And Tim says, Matt, what would you tell any one of your students that were behaving like you are right now? And I'd say, you're an idiot. He goes, well, what are you being then? I said, I'm being an idiot. And I literally closed every trade I had in my account, and I went camping for a week with no cell phone service, no Wi-Fi access. Got back to my trading. I said a few prayers to the trading gods and got back to my trading self, and went out there and kicked some ass in November and December.
I love it. One of the things that I found very interesting is that Tim he's very fond of walks. So he's like every few hours.
Oh, he loves it.
Oh, he's all about these walks. Yeah. And that's one of the things I got from him. I've adopted taking a walk every few hours, and I found that it's helped me center myself in my trading, especially. You can get so caught up in something, even a few hours, it helps. That's awesome.
Tim is a creative person, and he's awesome. I'm more of the analytical type, where I like my research and whatnot. I remember I was doing a co-mentoring with Tim one day, and I had a student in there, and Tim had a student there, and 11 o'clock comes, and Tim says, hey, let's go for a walk. I said, sit your ass down. Let's put some work in. And, we ended up, I didn't go for a walk that time, but eventually the next day I did go for a walk. And I do believe that it recenters yourself, and it kicks the energy back up, because when you go through too much data, it's like information overload. So taking a walk and taking a break is not a bad thing.
I like it. So I want to ask you a question that you might have already answered, but if you could go back in time, right, with everything you know now, you've been trading for 11 plus years, you've seen thousands of traders, what would be 3 things that you'd tell yourself from the beginning, things that you wish you knew?
Number one, embrace compounding gains on covered calls. That would be by far the number one thing. 2 to 3% on compounded gains over a 10-year period creates ridiculous cash flow on a monthly basis. So that would be number one. Number two, embrace the power of mindset. As a young trader, as an analytical person, stories and pictures and analogies and all this mindset jargon, was insane to me. I literally said one day in a boardroom meeting, as director of Rich Dad, you guys go drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to go teach people how to trade. And I can't tell you how offensive that was to people who had drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But that's who I was back then. I was a young, ambitious, analytical guy, and I liked my detail, I liked my trading system, I liked my roles. But mindset is so vitally important. Understanding the proper mindset towards money, the proper mindset towards debt, the proper mindset towards entrepreneurialism. Understanding that rich dad mindset is so important. And I think honestly, Jake, I don't know if I ever would have embraced it the way I did if I didn't have some terrible things happen to my baby girl Katira when she was an 8-month-old little girl. That forced me to kind of rebalance myself and really look internally. And the one thing I'll say about mindset versus content will make you some money. It will follow the rules, but it won't get you out of the depths of hell sometimes that life throws at us. Mindset will. And in 2010, mindset through life taught me a very valuable lesson that I needed to embrace mindset. And eventually I ended up taking a mentorship on a mindset specialist and really embracing the power of mindset. So, having the proper mindset, I think, is absolutely vital. And then number three, systems. Cash flow, covered calls, compound gains. Embrace the rich dad mindset. Drink the Kool-Aid. Just do it. Just take it down. It's
Yeah.
like a nice shot of scotch. It burns as it goes down, but it feels really good when it hits the belly. And then number three would be focus on systems. Focus on back testing, focus on systems. No trader is anything without proper system, rules, strategies, techniques, and over the last 10, 11 years, that has had me the ability to create multiple different trading systems. But the simple reality is, I kind of look back and I say, okay, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done this. I could have changed some things. But you can't do that. My journey was my journey, and I thank God for my journey because those mistakes and failures I had along the way led me to have an amazing life where a life that I never didn't really know existed. So I would also say embrace failure. Every successful person is littered with a road of and journey of failure. Embrace failure. Don't be scared of it. So what? Make mistakes. Guys, we make mistakes all day long, every day of our lives. We're very efficient at making mistakes, so don't worry about making mistakes again. Embrace failure, embrace mistakes, because that'll lead you to success.
I love it. I love it. And I will say, as a new trader, there are many mistakes that you will see in your
All right,
career. Yeah.
Jake, you'll make more.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
don't
happen.
doubt it. I'm totally ready for that. Well, the last thing I'd like to end with really here is if you would just like to add anything, maybe a piece of advice, any words of wisdom. I know you've offered a lot here, but for
Mhm.
anybody who's new, starting this journey, like from the beginning or young.
Well, honestly, you start where you start. I wouldn't worry about how much money you have or don't have. I wouldn't worry about how much debt you have or don't have. You start when you start it. I've never met anybody in life that told me, I wish I would have just started later in life. Whether you're 20, 21 years old like yourself or 38 like myself or, a baby boomer, you find it when you find it. I wish I could go back to when I was 18 and say, you know what? I wish I could punch myself in the face 19,000 times and say, do this.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my journey. We all have a journey in life, but we have to learn how to embrace opportunity when we see it. And Jake, you simply embraced it when you were 20 years old. I embraced it when I was 27 years old. Other people have embraced it when they're 65 years old.
Yeah.
You find it when you find it. You can't change the past, but you can use the past to better your future. And I would say to those of you out there that are listening that are in Jake's demographic and really kind of that millennial generation, man, this kid is inspirational. I'm going to tell you right now, just in the last 2, 3 days after we recorded the podcast, Jake, I've had 10 or 12 people that were ages 40 to 70 years old say, oh my God, this is who I want my kids to be, right?
Yeah.
Literally. And, embrace that. Stop being so damn lazy. Get up and do something with your life. And it doesn't have to just be on the couch playing Madden. Go learn how to trade, learn how to invest, learn how to be an entrepreneur. You don't, the one word of advice I'd give everybody is you don't have to donate your time to corporate America. That is not required to be to excel in America today. Build a business. You know, one thing I tell my children is don't get a job. I don't say that. I don't say go get a job, go get a job. If they want to get a job, fine. But do something that you love. And every day you spend on something you don't love is a wasted opportunity and time that you can never get back. Go build a business. You know, create a business, whatever that business is. Go learn how to be an investor. Because I'll tell you what's really fun in life, Jake, and you know this as well as I do. When you make money without having to work for it, that is
cool.
an amazing, amazing experience. And as a trader, it has afforded me an opportunity in life that other people simply have not had the ability to have. And I'm not shy about that. I don't say it as conceited or cocky in any capacity. The market has taught me too many valuable lessons for that. But I do say it as a scenario of showing people that people from consumer America, blue collar America, from any demographic, age, from any race, creed, sexuality, gender, you can learn how to trade. You can get your money working for yourself, and you can every time. I'll leave you with this, Jake. At my seminar, and I'm teaching a class here in Chicago today. Every time we click the button ourselves, Jake, and you've seen me do this, every time we click the button ourselves, we tell Wall Street something who has had a tendency to take advantage of us for the last 40 years. So every time we click the button ourselves, this is what we do. We tell Wall Street this. I'll leave it as that.
I love it. I love it. So just real quick, for if people want to connect with you, I know you run a wonderful trading community called Tackle Trading. You also have an awesome podcast, which I had the opportunity to be on. It's amazing. But where can people connect with you?
If you want to get your foot in the door, guys, go over there to tackletrading.com. That's the trading community that me and some of the other mentors at Legacy have created. We share our trades over there. We help everybody else as much as we can. So you can get over there to www.tackletrading.com. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's a little PG-13, Jake, right?
Yeah.
It's my podcast. I can say what I want.
Yep.
But it's the Trading Justice podcast. You can check it out. It's once a week. Or hit me up on Twitter, guys. Matt Justice13. You can hit me up on Twitter as well. We're out there to educate the masses and have a lot of fun doing it and make a lot of money at the same time. Have fun, make money, educate the masses. Sounds like a win-win-win for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. It's been awesome.
Hey, thanks, Jake. We'll do it again.